Okay, hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now we're going to talk about, this is a follow-up in the previous video where we demonstrated using the V-rod but also the dowsing rod to identify where there is a misalignment or subluxation. That's a terminology they use in chiropractic world when there's something out of alignment. And now this is the second stage of how we used to physically manipulate it, right? How my grandfather would do it after my grandmother would identify where the problem is. And again, this is just a showcase where my whole journey started from and where it's evolved into the system we call intuitively alignment system today. Where, it's been an evolvement and advancement from that way of practicing. There's actually a lot of people that don't even like to go to a chiropractic or an osteopath because they don't like the idea of being physically manipulated, of the crack and those sorts of things. And that's, again, another benefit of how I facilitate that now at Truly Holistic and doing it energetically. In fact, my mother here, who will be coming into the video again, she also is able to do that as well. And again, she does it all energetically as well. For many years, like myself, for her, as well as her, we all relied on the physical manipulation technique, but we can both agree that it's a lot better doing it energetically and works just as well. In most cases, I believe it works even better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit in the chair. My mother's going to come in and show what would have been the technique to crack my neck and align it and get it back into position with a lower neck misalignment. Then after that, I'll showcase what we'd do if it was further up into C1, C2, which is the atlas and axis, slightly different technique you used to use. And then after that, I'm going to show on her how we used to then adjust the back, whether it was an upper or middle back problem and then a lower back. So here we go. We're going to showcase that now on camera. So this is how would be adjusted if it was the lower back. The lower neck, please. So what would happen is the hands would go in the side like that, and the palms would actually just go slightly under the jawline, and then what would be done is just a slight pull up. So you're creating traction on the cervical spine. Yep, that's all good. And it'd be just nice and gentle to begin with. Didn't have to be anything excessive. And often, if things were just nice and relaxed and the muscles are nice and relaxed in the neck, you can feel the adjustment happen pretty easily. But of course, if that person was having a lot of pain, which of course creates a reaction in the body and people tense up and tighten up, it's not as loose and therefore it's not so allowing to move, right, and adjust back into its natural position. Sometimes it would take a little bit more of creating, you just create more traction, essentially. So what my mother's going to show us now is if that top neck is out of alignment, slightly different approach. So here we go. Right, so there'll be a torsion, a twisting, right? Okay, and if you want to show this way, just a different view. Okay. So what would happen would be a torsion or rotation, but the chin is just being pulled up a bit. So it's rotating and a bit up. And again, the further up, there'd be a bit more of that getting up, right? Yeah. So we go up and go up like that, and then we'd twist it. Okay, so it's more of a twist and a torsion with that. I personally felt, it's a lot more of a nicer experience if we just use the traction than the twisting. But when that upper neck's out, it's quite bad news. I used to have migraines for many years, and they were associated to a disc or a vertebrae being out of alignment in that C1, C2 area. And a lot of people that get heaviness over the eyes, behind the eyes, often bad headaches or a migraine is usually associated to something out of alignment in the upper neck, and they're the type of things that can kind of make people feel really ill and out of commission for days or weeks for some people that get really bad migraines. And I know how you feel. I suffer with migraines for a very long time, It was also a driving force behind creating this system, because to not allow you to settle for pain and agony for weeks, but to be self-empowered to do something about it yourself. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get the chair out, and I'm going to bring my mother back in, Jane, and I'm going to showcase now what we would do, or what we used to do with the physical manipulation in regards to if the upper or middle back was out of alignment. So come in here and look that way, right? So if there was a misalignment here, so right, cervical goes about here, right, and then thoracic to 12 vertebrae, right, and it'd be in this area here. So if there was something out of alignment here or something out of here, pretty much the same technique, slight adjustment, slight difference. So what is constant is my arms would go under her arms, and I put my hands on top of the chest like that, right? And as I lift up, I also squeeze in, okay? So again, in a sense, we're creating a traction, right? And we go like that, and we'd squeeze in, and then we'd lift up, okay? And then you hear a click or an adjustment, right? Now, what we used to do with the up the top here is it'd be straight up. If it was slightly further down in the middle or lower part of the thoracic, there would be a little bit more of up, but then bringing that person back. Okay, so we're just, it's like my chest and my abdomen is getting in that area, and we're targeting that area to readjust it. Thank you, Jane. Now for the lower back, right, and I'm talking about the lumbar, and particularly when we're getting into L3, L4, L5, and sacrum, we'd get the individual to lie on a bed and get them to relax. Just put their hands down the sides, and then what we'd do is we get one of their legs, and I'd put my hands around their ankle, right? And what you do is you just relax the leg. You might just rotate it a little bit, just getting that leg to relax. Because again, as I said before about the neck or any part, we're trying to get them to a state of relaxation, because that is simply like the person themselves allowing that adjustment, that healing to take place, right? So we go like that, and then we just give it a good pull, right? So we're creating, again, it's a traction effect in regards to the lumbar, the sacrum, and even the pelvis area. This would take into account the hip, the pelvis, and the lower spine as well. And that's how we would target the lower back. So I hope you really enjoyed this video. As I say, this is something we could still do. I could still provide. But the reason why we have a system now that doesn't require or depend on physical manipulation is because we've evolved the process. We've evolved the process where it's, in a sense, more effortless to provide, okay? And also it's allowed me to provide that healing to people all over the world. And we just do it over a video call. I've even done it just through a photo for someone, right? I've even got people locally that might send just a text message. Hey, I know I've got a really bad headache. I know my neck's out. And we can, within minutes, we can provide the healing that person requires. That easy, that effortless. Now, of course, if you're a beginner to dowsing techniques, or perhaps your belief structure is not very open to seeing that this can be done energetically without physical manipulation, of course, it's going to take repetition and work at it. But there's no greater feeling of the self-empowerment of providing a healing to yourself, your loved ones, your community, your clients in a very effortless manner like this. And this is what Intuitively Alignment provides, this possibility, this opportunity for you. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. See you later.